Well, hello, and a very, very warm welcome back to Garden Club. It is always so exciting to share the joy of the garden with you, and I'm looking forward to doing that again today, even though it's a little bit of a dull and damp sort of time just at the moment. It is just wonderful to be with you. There are so many exciting things to talk about. I don't know where to begin. First of all, I know now that many of you are finding that the little baby iris, the first of the baby iris that we planted, the Iris reticulata Pauline, have come into bloom. Indeed, you'll know, one of the groups, you know that you were the very first, because I was jumping up and down with joy when I saw those from outside. So that's a great thing. But you should all find those are coming out now, because I'm finding they're coming all over the place. So they don't last long. That's the only thing with them. But that almost adds to their beauty, because they're here today and gone tomorrow, and they're stunningly beautiful whilst they're in bloom. So I hope you enjoy them. Hope you manage to get them inside to see them. That'll be great. But there's so many other lovely things as well. You know, the snowdrops are still blooming. Daffodils are beginning to turn their heads in places, and you know they're sort of they're definitely opening up on the side of the road in places now. I've seen them quite a few times for a while now, but ours are, you know, they're just about, they're going to bloom very soon. Because here we are, beginning of February. February, such a great month, because you know when we get to the end of February and the beginning of March, well, you know, nowadays they talk about the 1st of March as being the beginning of the spring. I'm not sure about that. The 21st of March is always when we used to say it was the beginning of spring. But it's nice to think that spring starts a bit earlier in a way. Maybe not the other months, the other seasons, but spring, very lovely. So many things to see. Look, you've got those sweet peas. I think I showed you a picture last week of the sweet peas. They were about this tall last week. Now look at them coming up like that. They are my favourite flower. My favourite flower. You know, I've got lots of favourites, but that's the favourite. Everything's growing. Look here, more seedlings coming up there. Look at that. Everything's growing. And here we are. Look to the side of the lobelia again. All that's coming up. So, what are we going to do today? Well, we've got two things to sow, as always. We're going to sow something that's really, really easy to sow, and something that's really difficult to sow. However, we'll start with the easy one. We're going to sow some beautiful French marigolds. Marigold Queen Sapphire. We have those each year. They're the gorgeous ones. They're the two-tone, sort of got a streak of red running through them. I'll put a picture up so you can see it. And then we're going to sow the last of our lobelia. Last week you sowed the pale blue lobelia. The other week it was the dark blue. Today we're going to sow the white lobelia. And the reason why they're difficult to sow is only because they're hard to see. Because they're as tiny as the other lobelia, but they're white. So they're really harder to see. But never mind, you'll be fine with them. You're getting into the swing of it. So that's going to be great. Let's make a start. Let's get the seed sowing underway. So, we'll start with the marigolds, Queen Sapphire. Now these are really, really easy because they're huge. You can actually sow these really one at a time if you want to, because they're those lovely big seeds. So very, very distinctive. Nothing else quite like a French marigold seed. Look at that. Black at one end, white at the other. They're like little darts. And you can sort of pick them up and sprinkle them on almost one at a time. Now we don't want to put too many of these in. In a little tray like this, sort of 20 or so seeds is enough. So you can share them out amongst you. And that'll be great. Because when they come to prick them out, they're quite strong. And, you know, too much is isn't good. So then they go like that. You can see where they are beautifully. So I'm putting all of them in here in this tray, but you can share them out between you. There we are. You can sort of see them on there, I think. There it is. And then this is one we have to cover up. So again, you'll get your package of vermiculite with these. Vermiculite, we put relatively thick on there this time because the seeds are quite big. So these need to go like that. There we are, covered up like that. And then we give them their label. And we put the lid on. There we are. And that can stay in your propagator. And now you should see signs of that coming through quite quickly, only in relatively a few days' time. Certainly within the week you should see those coming up. So now for the lobelia. There we are. Now when I look into this, get the right packet, when I look into the packet I can really see, can't see any seeds in there at all. It absolutely looks like it's empty. So don't be too surprised when you get the packet open. If I shake it, I can hear them. So I'm going to tip some out of my hand. And I'm going to tip a reasonable number out. You basically can't see them, can you? No. Well, they are just there. Look, you might just see them, I think, if you're on the big screen. So I'm going to brush them on like this. These might be a bit difficult to share out, but you probably can. You really have to make sure you brush them off your hand as well, because they're easy to get stuck. Now, it doesn't look like there are many seeds. That's because they're so tiny and they're white. But they are there, I promise you. And you know, they take a week to 10 days to come through, so don't be surprised if they don't come straight through, but they'll be all right. Now these we don't cover up because they're tiny. It's hard to see because the white in here is the vermiculite, which is mixed in with the compost, but I don't know if you can see any little white dot, tiny white dots in there. There are a few down there. Now, this will be lovely. So again, we label them, and so we don't cover them up, we put the lid on, we leave them in the propagator, and they will germinate beautifully in time. So there we are. That's good. Very good. So there we are. Every week now there is something more and more exciting to look at and to wonder at. Do you know, when I look closely at the trees, and I'll talk to you more about this over the next few weeks, you can see the buds on the twigs and the branches beginning to swell, and that's not going to be long. Just down the road, down the lane actually from the farm, there is a magnolia, and that is the buds on that are really beginning to fill out. I'll see if I can get a picture of that to go with you with this week, but if not this week, next week. Let me show you something though, which you have been following this story of since last August time. Last August I got some hydrangea, and we took some cuttings of hydrangea, and you saw me plant those, and then later on you saw Liz transplant them when they had nice roots. And here we are at this time of year. Look, they're coming on beautifully now. There is one, look at that, with its new leaves. The old leaves fall off, you see, because they're deciduous, and this one is growing on. You won't get any flowers on this year, but it'll grow into quite a strong little bush like this year, and then next we'll have some lovely hydrangea flowers, which I absolutely love. And those great big Bombay hydrangeas are beautiful. They were tremendously out of fashion, but now they're back in fashion again, and I've always liked them. So there we are. All sorts of lovely things coming on. You know, you've got look at this tray here. This is something you didn't sow actually, because this is I think we may have seen these last week as well, but they've got bigger. This is Helichrysum, the straw flower, and all sorts of lovely, lovely things. So, it is just a joy to be with you, and I'm already looking forward to sharing more lovely things with you next week. And so until then, do take care, and bye-bye for now. Bye-bye.